Hey, welcome back everyone. This is Uncle Frank, and I am not a financial advisor, nor is any of the content to be construed as financial advice. This channel is for entertainment purposes only. Okay, you guys know I'm a Trump supporter, but I'm seeing a pattern. It's time for us to accept this phenomenon and try to profit from it. Implement tariffs, market falls. Roll back tariffs, market recovers. Okay, before we get to the events calendar, let's run through where I'm at in the portfolio. In the eVTOL and airline space, I'm long ACHR, Archer Aviation, and SRFM, Surf Air Mobility. In the quantum space, I'm long QBTS or D-Wave, RGTI or Rigetti, and IONQ or IonQ. The only crypto I'm long right now is XRP. I'm still interested in the ISO coins. I exited the ProShares ETF BITO, and I exited the ETF DTCR, but I still like that one long term. I also re-entered AMC just under 3 for fun, and I'm keeping an eye on GME right here as well. Of course, I actively trade the VIX. Okay, the whole crypto shit show is over for now. Let's talk about what's coming up that can move markets. Wednesday, the 12th, CPI at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Thursday, before the bell, we'll get D-Wave earnings and then PPI and jobless claims. Friday is the government shutdown day, and House Republicans unveiled a spending bill Saturday that would keep federal agencies funded through September 30th. So we'll see what happens there. We'll also get consumer sentiment from the University of Moscow in Michigan. Let me save you the trouble. It will be awful because, Trump tariff uncertainty. Now, the following week of the 17th is very exciting. Beginning Monday and ending Friday is the NVIDIA GTC conference. The entire tech world will be watching, along with all of us who trade it. This year's conference is extra special because it will feature the first ever Quantum Day on Thursday the 20th, and all 3 of the quantum stocks I own will be there presenting on Thursday the 20th. D-Wave, Rigetti, and IonQ. So that makes all the options expiring the next day extra interesting to me. Not investment advice or advisor. Monday the 17th is St. Patrick's Day. Did you know St. Patty's Day is statistically one of the stock market's best days? The S&P 500 ends higher on March 17th 80% of the time. We'll see if anything can fuck that up for us. Clearly, the biggest event of the week will be on Wednesday when we get the rate decision on the 19th. For those of you interested in the probability or odds of future rate moves, you can go to the Chicago Mercantile Exchange site and check out their FedWatch tool. You can also follow them on X at @interest_rates. Another great tool for you guys is the Earnings Hub weekly calendar. At a glance, you can see who's reporting before or after the bell. Plus, you can click on your icon of interest and drill down for more information. This coming week, we've got Oracle after the bell on Monday. Before the open on Tuesday, I'm watching Dick's to see how the consumer's doing, and Kohl's. That's the second most shorted stock out there. Wednesday after the bell, Adobe, and then Thursday before the open, I'll be watching QBTS because I'm long D-Wave. Before I cover all the news on my favorite stuff, I want to discuss this from Yahoo Finance. Tariffs are the talk of corporate America. Tariffs were mentioned 384 times on earnings calls over a 3-month rolling period through March 5th. And they've dominated economic data releases and the stock market's direction of late. The data suggests tariffs could have a widespread impact on the U.S. economy. Treasury Secretary Bessent says he's not worried about inflation from Trump's tariffs, although he did acknowledge we could get a one-time price adjustment. But market whiplash on tariffs showed the limits of listening to anyone but Trump. Markets were on edge after sharp shifts from Trump and conflicting signals from his top advisors. Okay, let me show you what Yahoo Finance is not mentioning. Okay, I hate to be the one to point it out, but Trump has been president before. He uses tariff threats as a negotiating tool. He's trying to get better trade deals for the United States. He's trying to repatriate manufacturing to our soil. That means more jobs, and he's doing a lot more for unemployment than the media and the Fed Reserve are doing, that's for sure. Let me give you some examples so you can decide for yourself. Nissan CEO Makoto Uchida said President Trump's tariffs could push the car manufacturer to move its production from Mexico to the United States. Honda is expected to produce its next generation Civic hybrid model in Indiana. After a meeting with President Trump, Stellantis announced it will reopen its assembly plant in Belvidere, Illinois, putting 1,500 employees back to work, and build its next generation Dodge Durango in Detroit, Michigan. The company also announced new investments in their Toledo, Ohio, and Kokomo, Indiana facilities. Not seeing much of this on Bloomberg or Yahoo Finance, are you? In total, President Trump has secured nearly $2 trillion in new U.S. investments. Taiwan Semiconductor announced an unprecedented $100 billion investment in U.S.-based semiconductor chip manufacturing. Apple announced a historic $500 billion investment that will create 20,000 new U.S.-based jobs. President Trump announced the largest artificial intelligence infrastructure project in history, securing $500 billion in planned private sector investment, with major CEOs agreeing it would not have been possible without President Trump's leadership. President Trump secured a $20 billion investment by Damac Properties to build new U.S.-based data centers. Do you guys understand that by doing that deal with Taiwan Semiconductor, he may have taken the biggest incentive for China to attack that island nation away? Do you realize TSMC could now move all its intellectual property to Arizona, keeping it out of the hands of the Chinese? Think about it. Here's a couple more items Bloomberg and Yahoo simply refuse to cover. Wisconsin-based Clarios, a leader in low-voltage energy storage, announced a $6 billion plan to expand its U.S.-based manufacturing. Eli Lilly and Company announced a $27 billion investment in its U.S.-based manufacturing. Saudi Arabia declared its intention to invest $600 billion in the U.S. over the next 4 years. Taiwan pledged to boost its investment in the U.S. Electronics giants Samsung and LG are considering moving their plants in Mexico to the U.S. now that President Trump is back in office. I wonder why. It's because of tariff threats. So, Uncle Frank, why do you suppose Yahoo Finance hides the gains of the new administration while highlighting everything that could bring fear, uncertainty, and doubt to its readers? Well, maybe that's because Yahoo is owned by Apollo Global Management. That's right. Distressed Credit Private Equity owns Yahoo Finance after Apollo acquired Verizon Media in 2021. That deal included Yahoo and AOL. Now, I have no idea why you wouldn't trust Apollo Global Management to control Yahoo Finance. After all, with Apollo alumni like Jeff Epstein buddy Leon Black, I'm sure everything is fair and balanced. Apollo said its investigation into Leon found no evidence that Mr. Black was involved in any way with Mr. Epstein's criminal activities at any time. However, the report did show that Black paid Epstein a stunning $158 million in fees for services, loaned him over $30 million in loans, and made a $10 million donation to Epstein's charity. Now don't forget, Adam Aron, hashtag Today We Pounce, was a senior operating partner for 9 years at Apollo before coming over to AMC to suck it dry. You'll notice Adam doesn't include his time at Apollo on his bio on Twitter. He just says he's the silverback. On that note, I might as well start with AMC. From yesterday, AMC Theaters wants to turn back the clock. As moviegoing lags, the mega chain hopes to push studios back to at least a 45-day theatrical window. Several days before the Oscars, AMC's Adam Aron, the maverick and controversial CEO of the world's largest theater circuit, told investors during a Feb 25 earnings call that the relaxation of theatrical windows needs to be revisited in the post-COVID era as attendance levels remain notably off-kilter. Quote, "I sure hope we can introduce longer windows because I think the current industry experiment has failed." Aron said when reminding that before the pandemic, most films in the U.S. weren't available in the home until at least 74 to 90 days after their initial theatrical release. What Aron didn't mention was that it was actually AMC that first struck a landmark deal with Universal in the summer of 2020, collapsing the window to 17 days for a movie opening to $50 million or less and 31 days for a title opening to more. So Adam not only messed up AMC, but possibly the entire theater industry. Got it. Universal, owned by Comcast, had long wanted to experiment with a new premium video on demand window whereby a title is offered for a rental at a price of $20 or more. The pack became the new norm in large measure, although most studios hold out for more than 40 days. It all depends on how a film is performing. In particular, Disney, save for a few titles, has remained committed to an exclusive 60-day window. Aron declared on the earnings call that a 45-day window should be sacrosanct, and that 17 days and 30 days are too short. He added that he'd like to consider 60 days or more. But sources tell The Hollywood Reporter the AMC chief has met with at least 3 of the 5 major studios, but many aren't eager to return to past practices. Quote, "That ship has sailed," said one studio exec. And that's how I feel about the whole thing. The ship has sailed. I want to invest in the next big thing. I want to find the next NVIDIA or Amazon. I'm not interested in 100-year-old theaters anymore. As far as Adam is concerned, my only interest in him is bringing him to justice. It's my sincere hope he spends the rest of his life embroiled in litigation before he dies and then goes straight to hell. A lot of people were fighting on X about this development regarding AMC. Breaking. Delaware court rules AMC settlement shares as insurable loss. Jury to decide insurance payout. This is beneficial to the company and shareholders. Well, speaking only for myself, that's the only good thing to happen to me in a Delaware courtroom. Hashtag Citigroup cuts AMC Entertainment price target to $280. That's down from $290. And a number of other brokerages have also issued reports on AMC. B. Riley cut their target price from $8 to $6 and set a neutral rating on the stock in a research note from November 7th. Roth Capital set a $325 price target in a report from February 4th. Macquarie restated a neutral rating and set a $4 price target in a report on February 26th. 3 investment analysts have rated the stock with a sell rating, and 6 have issued a hold rating. Based on data from MarketBeat, AMC presently has a consensus rating of hold and an average price target of $4.76. For fun and sheer morbid curiosity, Uncle Frank went long AMC again at $2.99 last week just to keep this debacle on my radar. There's your receipts on the screen. AMC closed at $3.06, up 5 cents on Friday, or 1.66%. After hours lost a penny. You can see on the right, I'm long at $2.99, so currently up 2.01%. So far, it looks like March 25th for GameStop earnings after the close. Hashtag Dougie Large. Pension fund accuses Panthers owner Viola, partner Sifu, of stealing $400 million owed to investors in Virtu Financial. Vincent Viola, the multi-billionaire owner of the Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers, is the principal defendant in a class action lawsuit alleging he used his control of Virtu Financial to divert more than $400 million in cash from Virtu stockholders to himself and his confederates. Interesting case. Hedge fund leverage is rising as a concern for regulators. Oh yeah, what regulators? The huge bets on what is known as the cash futures basis trade could amplify market shocks. Policymakers around the world, such as Hammock, are increasingly worried about growth in an arcane corner of finance called the cash futures basis trades. Okay, so you guys tell me, who's watching the store at the SEC? Uyeda? Hester Pierce? Our new SEC chair doesn't even have a confirmation hearing scheduled yet. Here are 3 other reasons I want the Fed to cut and I want Treasury yields to keep falling. Americans' credit card debt reaches new record high. Credit card balances now stand at a record $1.21 trillion. Why American credit card delinquencies have suddenly shot up. They are now at a 13-year high. Shocking stat of the day, the share of subprime car borrowers at least 60 days past due on their loans hit 6.6% in January, the highest in at least 30 years. This percentage has doubled over the last 3.5 years. Levels now exceed levels seen in 2020 and 2008. I want to see everyday consumers get some payment relief on credit cards. None of the swans landed to help my people trapped in AMC, but they are still out there. For those of you XRP holders that think we may not get the case dismissed until we appoint a new chairman, I have some interesting news just for you. Trump's SEC pick is in paperwork purgatory. Trump tapped former SEC Commissioner Paul Atkins as the next chair on December 2nd, but the White House still hasn't produced the paperwork needed for the Senate to schedule his confirmation hearing. 2 people familiar with the process told Semaphore. You see, I was blaming Democrats for obstructing this, but it turns out the White House hasn't produced the paperwork demanded by the Senate, right? That includes Atkins' financial disclosure, likely a heavy lift given his marriage into a billionaire family. It's a lot to go through, said one former Senate Banking Committee staffer. But he got named so early on, so I think that's why people are starting to be like, what's taking so long? The panel must announce hearings a week out, making March 11th and 13th the next most likely dates. A spokesperson for Senate Banking Chair Tim Scott pointed out that hearings for Atkins' predecessors, Gary Gensler and Jay Clayton, also happened in March. So what do you guys think? Why is the White House holding up the paperwork on this confirmation hearing? From Sunday afternoon, XRP eyes 340 as a short squeeze looms, targeting key liquidation zones. Institutional recognition strengthens XRP's role as a stable financial asset. A head and shoulders pattern signals potential downside to $1.20 if confirmed. So far today, we held 210 at the time of this recording, back up to 216. The market indicates that XRP price might experience a short squeeze that could drive traders who sold XRP to repurchase their positions, thus creating additional upward price pressure. From Investor Place Digest on Sunday, Quantum's transistor moment is arriving, so we're getting our portfolio ready now. On March 20th, during the company's first ever Quantum Day, NVIDIA may announce a new breakthrough technology that is poised to ignite the next phase of the AI supercycle. Here's a more detailed list of the companies participating in NVIDIA's Quantum Day at GTC 2025. All three of Frank's positions will be there: D-Wave, IonQ, and Rigetti. On topic from Sunday, Rigetti Computing. Financial situation vastly improved. Rigetti Computing improved its liquidity through equity offerings, securing $217 million in cash and investments and an additional $35 million from Quanta Computer, reducing financial risk. Despite a revenue decline in 2024, Rigetti's development milestones, like the first academic sale of its Novera QPU, indicate progress and future potential. Also from Sunday, could investing in this quantum computing stock be like buying NVIDIA prior to the dawn of the artificial intelligence revolution? That's why I'm here. When it comes to quantum computing specifically, a small company known as IonQ has swiftly become somewhat of a darling. While its shares have skyrocketed by 222% over just the last 6 months, CEO Nicola Di Masi just made a call for the ages, potentially hinting that generational gains could be in store. You can check out the interview for yourself on X. Here's a post from the dude. IonQ's new CEO on CNBC, quote, "We are decades ahead of Microsoft, IBM, Amazon. We are what NVIDIA was a few years ago." Now, this is not investment advice. I am not an investment advisor. I will never tell you to buy, sell, or hold any security or cryptocurrency. But subscribers to this channel know I love the penny stock Surf Air Mobility, or SRFM, the tiny $70 million company that is also the largest commuter airline in the U.S. by scheduled departures, the one that Palantir owns 20% of. Back in February, Surf Air Mobility unveils new profitability strategy. And then, 2 weeks ago, California-based Surf Air to move operations center to North Texas. Smart. If you want to be in business, get out of California and get over to a state like Texas. And then 2 weeks ago, can Surf Air's Texas relocation fast-track its path to profitability? And then 3 days ago, regional air mobility pioneer Surf Air Mobility readies first annual earnings report since its IPO. So they will be reporting March 18th, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. And then 2 days ago, is Surf Air Mobility flying under the investor radar? Analyst weighs in. H.C. Wainwright analyst Amit Dayal initiated coverage on Surf Air Mobility with a buy rating and a price forecast of 12. Uncle Frank is long at 3.036. We finished up Friday at 417. I'm currently up 37.35%. The all-time closing high for the stock was 22.05 back in July of 2023. Earnings Hub has Surf Air Mobility reporting in 9 days on the 18th. Revenue beat estimates 4 times in 4 quarters. Earnings per share beat only 1 time in 4 quarters, but I think this company's financials are heading in the right direction. Guys, to be perfectly honest, I don't care what anyone says about Archer Aviation. ACHR is the best looking growth stock opportunity I've ever seen, not investment advice or advisor. It doesn't just manufacture and sell eVTOLs. It will also be a small airline operator and now a defense contractor. It's introducing the world to a completely new way to travel. I just want to say the new manufacturing facility in Georgia is complete, and this company is on its way. From Value Kicker, Archer Aviation, midnight launch set to go to new heights. Archer is set to launch its first eVTOL aircraft, the Midnight, in 2025, targeting early adopters and generating initial revenue in Abu Dhabi. The company has substantial liquidity with $1.136 billion in cash, but faces high operational expenses and relies on partnerships like Stellantis for scaling production. The eVTOL market could reach $41.5 billion by 2035, with significant potential in both civilian and military applications, boosting Archer's long-term prospects. Despite high risks and reliance on FAA certification, Archer's innovative technology and strategic marketing could justify its stock price for high-risk investors. I completely agree. I don't know if any of you got to see this tweet, but this is exactly how I imagined it. Asian kids in front of some PCs with hundreds of connected cell phones on the wall. This tweet from Illuminatabot says it all. 5th generation warfare. And a great tweet from the Milk Road. If you invested $10,000 in Ethereum in June 2023, you'd now have 11,500. But if you invested $10,000 in eggs in June of 2023, you'd now have 80,000. Guys, I'm going to close this episode with this quote. When plunder becomes a way of life for a group of men living together in society, they create for themselves in the course of time a legal system that authorizes it and a moral code that glorifies it. That's exactly where Wall Street and Washington are right now. Hey, I want to thank you for watching, and please remember to hit the like button after this slide if you enjoyed the presentation. Subscribe to the channel and set the alert so you're notified when I have new information to share. See you at the bell.